We've all been there. You pour time, money, and energy into something, and no matter how much you invest, it keeps slipping away. It's like a sinking ship, but for some reason, you keep adding more weight. So, why do we do it? Why do we keep spending on a lost cause? Well, let's break it down, step by step. The investment fallacy. I've already spent so much. It's the most common trap, and most of us fall into it without even realizing it. You've already spent money, time, or effort on something, so you feel like you can't stop now. I've invested so much in this. How could I possibly give up? That thought might sound familiar, right? This is called the sunk cost fallacy, when you keep going just because you've already put something into it, whether it's time, effort, or money. Think about a project you started, a business, a hobby, maybe even a relationship. The more you invest, the more you feel tied to it, even when you know it's not really going anywhere. Your brain starts to justify the spending, telling you, if I give up now, I'll lose everything. But here's the hard truth. The money, the time, and the effort you've already spent are gone. The reality is, those costs shouldn't influence your future decisions. But still, our brains are wired to avoid loss, and the fear of losing what's already gone makes us keep pouring more into a situation that's already lost. And that's when you get stuck in the cycle. The more you keep going, the harder it becomes to stop, because you're afraid to admit it was a wasted effort. But what's the smarter choice? Cut your losses and walk away. The longer you wait, the more costly it becomes. The hope factor. Maybe this time it'll work. Now let's talk about hope. That little voice in your head saying, maybe just one more try. Maybe this time it'll turn around. Hope is powerful, and in small doses, it can be a great motivator. But when you're stuck in a losing situation, hope can easily turn into a blind spot. Here's the thing. Hope without strategy can be a disaster. Sure, you might have had a great plan at first, but now you're just hoping things will magically work out. Maybe your business idea isn't taking off, or maybe you're sticking to a relationship that feels one-sided. And yet, you hold on. You hope against hope that things will suddenly click. But hope doesn't equal progress. In fact, hope often makes us ignore the reality that our efforts aren't yielding results. It's like digging a hole deeper and deeper, telling yourself, this will be the last dig, I swear. But without any signs of improvement, that hole isn't going to fill itself with anything good. What you're doing is doubling down on a strategy that isn't working, hoping for a miracle. The key here is simple. Hope needs to be paired with action, change, and a shift in direction. If things aren't working out, it might be time to reassess your approach, instead of hoping that one more try will suddenly turn everything around. Sometimes, the breakthrough happens when you finally stop hoping and start moving away from a situation. The endowment effect. I'm attached to it. This is when you start to attach your identity to something. It could be a car, a business, a relationship, or even a dream. You've poured so much time into it that it feels like a part of you. The idea of letting go seems almost like losing a part of yourself. That's because, in your mind, you've invested so much that you think it must hold value, even if the reality is, it doesn't. Take, for example, an old car. It's been with you for years. Sure, it's rusted and doesn't start half the time, but you've had it for so long that the thought of letting it go feels impossible. That's the endowment effect in action. The longer you've held on to something, the more you believe it's worth more than it actually is. But here's the secret. Just because you've spent years or money on something doesn't mean it's still valuable. This can be a hard pill to swallow, but realizing that you're holding on to something simply out of habit or attachment is the first step toward letting go. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Imagine you're carrying a backpack filled with bricks, convinced you need to carry them everywhere, even though they're slowing you down. Let go of the weight, and you'll move faster, feel lighter, and have the space to pick up something that's actually worth carrying. The fear of missing out. What if I give up too soon? We've all felt it. When you're deep into something and it's not working, the thought of walking away can feel like you're giving up. But what's even worse is the fear that you might give up just before the tide turns. It's the constant nagging thought. What if I stop now, and then suddenly everything changes? What if I walk away, and then it works out for someone else? This fear is real, and it's paralyzing. But here's the truth. You can't predict the future, no matter how hard you try. You can keep hoping things will magically get better, but that's not a strategy. The fear of missing out is rooted in the idea that success is always just around the corner. But sometimes, the corner you're chasing doesn't exist. Instead of focusing on what you might be missing, shift your attention to what you can gain by moving on. There are so many opportunities out there waiting for you, and each one requires space to grow. Sticking to a lost cause limits your potential, keeping you trapped in a loop of regret and missed chances. It's okay to walk away. It doesn't make you a failure. It makes you someone who knows how to move forward and make smarter choices. The role of identity. I can't be seen as a failure. This one's a biggie, especially for those of us who are driven by pride and ego. The idea of admitting defeat can feel like an attack on your identity. You don't want to be seen as someone who gave up, right? You want to be seen as strong, persistent, someone who never quits. But here's the thing. Staying stuck in a lost cause because you're afraid of how others will perceive you is like wearing a mask that doesn't fit anymore. Sometimes you have to strip away the mask and ask yourself, what's the cost of holding on to this image? Holding on to a lost cause doesn't make you resilient. It makes you stubborn. True strength is in knowing when to let go, in walking away from things that aren't serving you anymore, and redirecting your energy towards something that actually has potential. Admitting that something isn't working doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're self-aware. And that's a quality that will take you far in life. Don't let fear of being labeled a failure hold you back from making the smartest decision for your future. The power of perspective. What's the cost of staying? Now let's pause and really think about the costs. What is it truly costing you to keep spending on a lost cause? Time, money, energy, and yes, your mental health. Every moment you waste on something that's going nowhere is a moment you could have spent on something more productive, something that could actually bring you closer to your goals. Every dollar you keep investing in something that's doomed to fail is money that could have been put to better use elsewhere. Every ounce of emotional energy you pour into a relationship, a job, or a project that isn't working is energy that could be better spent on something new. The cost of staying stuck isn't just about the tangible stuff. It's about the opportunity you're missing out on. So ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped? What's waiting for you if you move on? The breakthrough, when you know when to let go. Here's the breakthrough. Sometimes letting go is the most powerful choice you can make. And when you know when to let go, that's when you truly begin to thrive. Walking away from a lost cause doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've gotten smarter. You've learned how to redirect your energy towards something more worthwhile. And that is a sign of growth, not defeat. So, the next time you find yourself sinking deeper into a lost cause, stop. Take a step back, reflect. Ask yourself, is this worth it? If not, then cut your losses, learn from the experience, and move forward. Remember, success isn't about sticking with something forever. It's about knowing when to pivot, when to walk away, and when to make space for something better. Trust yourself, trust the process, and know that you have the power to change your future. Stop investing in a lost cause. Your time, money, and energy are precious. Use them wisely. Let go when you need to. The sooner you let go of the things that aren't working, the sooner you'll have the space to welcome the things that actually matter. Don't let fear, hope, or ego keep you stuck. The future is wide open, and it's waiting for you.